Good morning from a cold, rainy gas station in Rosamond, California. We're just a few miles down the road from Willow Springs. We're heading out there for a practice day with me, Alex, some other friends. We want to get the team dialed in, both of our cars dialed in for the next round of hot pit. So let's get to the track. I'm dying to see how these new changes I made to the Z feel. All right, step one of a successful track day is put your car on jack stands, take all your wheels off, and bleed your brakes. We didn't actually bleed the brakes very well when we did this brake upgrade, so we're doing that at the track now. Thankfully, it stopped raining, but got a little bit of work to do, and then we'll start having some fun.
Oh, I'm too fat for your seat.
Quick and dirty brake bleed here at the track. Big shout out to Ian, our camera guy, for helping me out. He was in the car bumping the brakes for quite a while. This is a pro tip: if you are bleeding the brakes on your car, you probably want it running if it has a vacuum booster like a Z does. That's the reason they weren't bled properly the first time, is we bled them with the car off and we really weren't able to depress the pedal all the way and get all the air and pressure and fluid out. With the brakes just about wrapped up, we can take a step back and admire Alex's new livery. Define Wraps absolutely killed it. They were sponsoring both of us as a team, and now both of our cars look great. Makes me want to add a little bit more color to mine, that's for sure.
All right. You sure?
No.
All right, pretty sure the brakes are bled. Car's back on the ground, wheels are torqued. Made a few small adjustments to the sway bar and rear suspension, so trying to really dial in the wet setup because we really struggled with that at Hot Pit Irwindale. So gonna go do a quick little run up and down the pits just to make sure the brakes are working right, and then we'll get out on track and start having some fun.
That's his thing.
Half an inch.
Half an inch and
About half an inch. Throw it.
So before we went out on track, we threw the toe plates on this thing, and as you heard Elijah say, we had half an inch of toe-in in the rear, which is way more than I would ever run, and that really explains why the car drove the way it did in Hot Pit. I looked under the car and one of the eccentric bolts had moved. I don't know if I hit something or what the case was, but completely my fault for not checking the alignment prior to Hot Pit. That was a rookie mistake, but it really does explain a lot. So we dialed that back to just about zero toe, and we're going to get out on track, and you'll see the car instantly performs much better. Setup changes done. We did everything we could to loosen this car up, so everything's kind of set to full stiff now. We've got a lot of air in the tires, and finally the car is feeling good. Now granted, I'm on used tires, but this is the first time I'm really able to get out, fill out the zones, use third gear entirely, and the car was really just starting to feel good. That brake bias valve that we put in was doing its job, and things were feeling good. But keep in mind, this was on used tires.
last 1 or 2 laps, I probably shouldn't have done. Whatever. Fresh set of tires, fresh set of wheels. Shout out to Powder Coat Industries for getting these things looking fresh. Fingers crossed they don't destroy them. As you see, we just went through a set of tires. Did not mean to explode those things and murder a side skirt, but that's all right. We're having fun. And the car is feeling better than ever. The new brake bias setup is super cool. It makes left foot braking way better. It doesn't bog the car down anymore. We made a few adjustments to the alignment. I actually had way more toe in the rear than I thought, which explains why the car was overly gripped up at hot pit. My mistake for not checking it. Not sure what happened. I'm sure a dirt drop somewhere along the lines just messed with the alignment. But we got the rear to just about 0 toe. We dialed in the shock settings. We played around with some air pressure in the tires. We moved the sway bar from full stiff to in the middle, so the car's a lot less twitchy. It's a little more planted. That was one thing I noticed in the rain with the sway bar at full stiff. It was really twitchy. It was kind of hard to manage. So with it kind of in the middle, the car feels a bit more balanced and a little easier to control. All of these little changes have really added up and the car feels better than ever. Gonna throw a brand new set of tires on. We're gonna turn the nitrous on and we're gonna really start testing this thing. But I think we've made some really good improvements because the car is feeling great. I'm feeling confident, and that's what test days are all about. Let's crack this bottle open.
Alex and I got out on track for a little promo photo shoot for Defined Wraps. Both of our cars look great together. And then we decided to do some laps together, doing rock, paper, scissors to see who's gonna lead and chase. I won, and I decided I wanted to chase first. So let's get to driving. First lap, let's go. I'm doing my best to try to keep up. I don't want to get gapped off the line. He does a huge flick initiation, and let's run that back. This is where things really start to click in my head as far as the car setup goes. So, like I said, I'm doing my best to not get gapped off the line. He does his big flick initiation. I enter behind him, and you see I immediately catch up. I'm gaining too much speed, try to slow the car down, I check up, the car straightens out. That's the problem I've been having in hot pit, and now I'm trying to play catch up again. I initiate shallow to try and dive in on his door, and again, I'm just carrying too much speed behind him and I can't slow down, and when I try to, the car straightens out. Let's see how it looks in the lead. I can tell you right now, the issue is going to be exaggerated. You're really going to see the difference in speed. Now, yes, I'm on a shallower line. Yes, my car has less angle, but that's because the car has so much grip in it. And that's why it's driving so much faster than Alex. Now, granted, Alex was also on like pretty dead tires, but I mean, I'm just walking away from him here and I'm fighting to keep the car in drift. It really wants to dive down that bank and straighten out. I told Alex, let's line it up one more time. I want to chase you, anticipating the difference in speed. And I do a little bit better of a job, but you can really see the car is kind of just fighting itself to get to angle. You can see me doing a lot of corrections and really doing my best to not slam into the side of Alex. And then it starts to break up and I just shut it down.
Successful test day in the books. We're leaving with a good running car that wasn't crashed. Maybe we did break a side skirt, but minor details. Overall, learned a lot. After we put a new set of tires on the car, so some brand new Zestinos, we were kind of back to just fighting the car because it has too much grip. And that's with 0 toe. The shocks are at max stiff. We're running 70 PSI. Like, everything's maxed out and the car still has too much grip. I don't know if you could tell when I was chasing Alex, I'm like diving in on him and I'm gaining speed. I would have hit him if I didn't lift, and then the car wants to straighten, and that's the whole issue we had at hot pit. We had the car set up and it was feeling really good, but that was on some pretty worn tires. As soon as we put fresh tires back on, we were back to the same issues. There's just too much grip, and I think a lot of that comes from running too big of a tire. I'm doing everything I can to keep up with these guys, but I think we're just asking a little too much. I'm gonna weigh some pros and cons of going down tire size, maybe to a 235 or 245. We've been running 265s this whole time, so 265, 300 tread wear tires, and I think it's just a little too much for my power level. And today kind of proved it because we made so many changes trying to take grip out of the car so that I can get up on that bank and stay there. and as soon as we put fresh tires on, I couldn't do it. So a lot to think about. We made some good changes. I learned a lot about how little changes can affect the way the car drives. It was really cool to be able to do 2 or 3 laps, come in, make a small change, and go right back out. So now I know in my head, okay, this is what it feels like if we do, 4 clicks on the rear shocks, or if we change tire pressure by 5 psi, or if we adjust the toe to this or that. So learned a lot. We just still have a lot more development to go before we can really get this car as competitive as possible with such little power. That's going to be a wrap for this one. Hopefully it was a cool video. I really didn't film much. I was focusing a lot on just car setup and getting everything as good as possible. But at the end of the day, had a lot of fun. Like I said, we still have a working car, and I learned a lot. Big thanks to the team that came out. It was fun driving with Alex. Everybody was out here helping out. Again, it's great to have a spotter, someone on the radio saying, hey bro, come in, I want to change this. Just lots of feedback, and we're growing as a team, developing our cars together, and it's just really cool to see and be a part of. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course, catch you in the next one.